The shocking truth about Slumberjack Woods. Haunting secrets revealed at midnight. Every local knew the stories of Slumberjack Woods, tales whispered in the dead of night that would make your skin crawl. But nobody dared tread those twisted trails after sundown. They said the trees moved, shifting ever so slightly, as if they had minds of their own. Shadows danced between the trunks, and eerie whispers could be heard by those brave enough to venture close. But it wasn't just imagination. People had disappeared there. Some returned, changed in ways words couldn't describe. There was even a rumor about a ghostly figure, shrouded in mist, who beckoned lost souls deeper into the dark. Little did the townsfolk know that they were about to uncover shocking truths more horrifying than their darkest nightmares. That it was a Friday night when the curiosity reached its peak. A pair of teenagers, Mike and Jess, made a dare, each shaking with excitement and fear. "Let us spend the night in Slumberjack Woods," Mike suggested, his voice trembling. Jess's heart raced. "You're joking, right?" But the thrill was too tempting. Nobody had truly explored the depths of that cursed place, not in decades. They packed flashlights, snacks, and a sense of adventure as fear clawed at their insides. As they entered the woods, a chill swept through the air, prickling their skin. The moon hung low, casting a silver glow on the gnarled branches. It felt alive, watching, waiting. Just the rustle of leaves seemed to pulse with ominous intent. As they ventured deeper, strange markings appeared on the trees, deep grooves, and symbols no one remembered carving. Each step echoed like a heartbeat in the silence, a reminder that they weren't alone. "Did you hear that?" Jess stopped, eyes widening. A soft, haunting melody floated through the air, barely recognizable, but captivating all the same. It tugged at something deep within, pulling her toward something. Mike couldn't shake the feeling of eyes on his back, an unyielding pressure pushing him to run. They shared a tense glance before pressing forward. "Before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button. It really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect." The deeper they went, the thicker the fog rolled in. The melody transformed into a cacophony of whispers, urgently pleading, almost angry. Mike felt a lump in his throat as fear settled in. "We should turn back," he whispered. But Jess, enticed by the unknown, shook her head. Just a little further. Just then, a loud crack echoed through the trees, reverberating in the silence. They froze, adrenaline surging. One glance at each other, terror painted across their faces. Then, from the depths of darkness, a form emerged. It was tall and indistinct, cloaked in shadow. Its presence felt colder than the air. "Did you see that?" Jess gasped, realizing too late that curiosity can lead you to places you never intended to explore. But it was too late to turn back now. What had they stumbled into? As the figure stepped closer, revealing a glimpse of ghostly features, a deafening silence surrounded them. And in that silence, an unasked question hung in the air. Would they escape Slumberjack Woods with their sanity, or would they become part of its haunting legend? The figure loomed before them, its features becoming clearer in the dim light of their flickering flashlights. Jess felt her chest tighten, and Mike instinctively stepped back, his spine tingling as if icy fingers had traced along his bones. Yet, despite the overwhelming urge to flee, they stood frozen, entranced by the entity before them. The figure's eyes glowed not a warm hue of humanity, but a chilling azure that pierced through the darkness. It seemed to be wearing a tattered cloak that swayed with a life of its own, swirling around its legs like wisps of smoke. For a moment, all thoughts of dares and bravery melted, and panic took root in their hearts. Who are you?" Jess stammered, her voice barely above a whisper, almost swallowed by the surrounding woods. She searched for logic, trying to convince herself that this was merely a trick of light, a figment of her imagination brought on by fear. "Here for the lost ones," the figure hissed, its voice echoing like wind through the trees. It stretched a hand toward them, devoid of warmth, almost beckoning. The air suddenly thickened with an electric charge, making it hard to breathe. Mike's knees trembled. "We need to go, Jess. Now." His instincts screamed for him to run, but there was something captivating about that spectral figure. Was it fear or something deeper, something more sinister? The ghostly being took another step closer, the ground trembling beneath its feet, as if the earth itself recoiled from this apparition. "You've come to find truths buried in darkness. Are you prepared to face what lies beneath?" The woods do not give up their secrets lightly. The haunting melody resumed, louder now, almost a thrumming in their chests. Jess found herself swaying slightly, drawn inexplicably closer to the figure, as if an invisible string tugged at her very soul. "No, wait," she cried, panic rising, but her feet felt rooted to the ground. In the corner of her eye, she saw Mike backing away, the flashlight trembling in his grip. "I'm serious, Jess. We can't stay here." He could see what she couldn't see, that something was wrong, terribly wrong. The fog thickened, swirling like an angry tide around them. Suddenly, a rush of blinding light erupted from the lanterns, washing over the figure. The ethereal glow morphing into shapes faint, shadowy silhouettes of people trapped within the mist. Faces twisted in pain, mouths open in silent screams. They were not just figures, they were the lost souls, the rumors made flesh. "What if we can't save them?" Jess's voice was breaking, the realization dawning like a weight on her heart. In her gut, she felt a deep empathy, a connection she was just as lost. With a fierce grip, Mike pulled Jess back, the shadows retreating as if spurned. "No, we have to go. It'll take us to." He turned, yanking her along with him as they stumbled back, fear overriding their curiosity. But as they darted away, whispers chased them through the trees, mingling with the malevolent laughter of the woods. "You cannot escape. The truth will find you." Jess glanced behind them, terror bubbling inside her. What did they mean? What truth? There was no answer as they ran, leaving behind the darkness, but the melody lingered, a siren-esque call echoing long after they could still hear it. With each step, the woods seemed to pulse with life, almost sensing they had escaped. But what awaited them outside? The trees watched as the two fled, their hearts pounding in a dreadful rhythm of pursuit. What lay beyond the edge of Slumberjack Woods? Had they truly left its grasp, or merely entered a new realm of horror? As the whispers faded into a chilling silence, Mike could feel Jess's trembling beside him. "What are we going to do now?" she asked, voice quaking. Suddenly, a frantic rustle erupted behind them, two piercing blue eyes flaring to life in the distance. They weren't alone, yet was salvation truly out of reach? Or had they awakened something worse? What other secrets did Slumberjack Woods still hold? They ran, breathless and wild, hearts pounding in sync with the chaos around them. The flickering lights from their lanterns cast desperate shadows that danced among the trees, eerie figures moving at the edges of their vision. Each rustle and snap of a twig sent spikes of fear through them, a reminder that they were not alone. "Jess, we can't stop. We have to keep moving," Mike urged, his voice cracking under the pressure. He could feel a force behind them, something ancient that thrived in the darkness. The blue eyes had vanished, but the memory of their intensity lingered, stinging the back of his mind. "I can't," Jess gasped, her energy waning. "What if we go in circles? What if we're still trapped?" Behind them, the haunting melody crept back into their ears, thin and slithering, calling them towards something they were desperate to avoid. "Just trust me." He grabbed her hand tightly, leading her deeper into the woods. They stumbled over roots and patches of wet earth, their footsteps muffled by the thickness of the fog. The trees, tall and looming, seemed to close in around them, leaning in as if to listen to their frantic breaths. What secrets did they hide? Around them, the forest bristled, vibrating with whispers. It felt alive but malevolent, and the chill in the air cut deeper with every passing moment. "Do you feel that?" Jess whispered, her voice trembling as they pressed on. "It's like the woods, they want something from us." Mike nodded, his heart racing. "Whatever it is, we're not giving it to them." But even as he spoke, doubt crept in. The memories of the entity and the lost souls haunted him even more intensely now. Faces of anguish flickered through his mind, their pain palpable, drawing on his empathy. Suddenly, the underbrush exploded around them, shadows lunging from the dark like hungry beasts. Mike spun around, flashlight beam catching on a figure. A girl? No, it couldn't be. The face was gaunt and hollow-eyed, her movements erratic, like a puppet on frayed strings. "Help me," she screamed, her voice echoing with desperation. "Jess, don't look," Mike shouted, pulling her along. But Jess, her compassion overpowering her fear, reached out. "What happened to you?" The girl recoiled, eyes glazed over with a familiar azure glow, mirroring the figure they had encountered. "They want tea, let me go. You must run," Mike nearly yelled, urgency clawing at his throat. They dashed away, but the forest wound tea let them be. Every step felt heavier, the shadows curling around their limbs like tendrils of smoke. They broke through a thicket, finding themselves in a clearing bathed in silver moonlight. But the peace was deceptive. The girls and boys they had seen earlier emerged from the trees, their forms slipping in and out of focus like an old film reel. They were not just spirits, they were trapped memories. "We need to find a way out," Jess cried, panic flooding her eyes. The ethereal beings began to whisper in unison, their voices overlapping, creating a haunting chorus. "The truth lies within, we are all lost." Mike felt freezing dread threaten to overwhelm him. "What truth? What do you want from us?" he shouted, anger and fear mixing in his chest. "The truth of your hearts," came a voice, soft yet commanding, echoing from the darkness around them. Each soul stepped closer, their mournful expressions a mirror of their own deepest fears. Jess reached for Mike, her fingers trembling. "I can't let them take us too. We have to fight against this." But as they stood paralyzed in that clearing, the air thick with echoes of despair, Mike felt the grasp of something cold and unyielding wrapping around his heart like a vice. "Jess, I don't know if we can win," he admitted, the weight of hopelessness thick in his throat. With a creeping sense of dread, he looked back at the figures slowly circling them, and deep down, a gnawing question arose. What if these lost souls weren't there to threaten them? What if they were warnings? The shadows loomed ever closer, and as they whispered the invitation of the void, Mike realized they had entered a realm of horrifying truths. "Jess, they want us to face our darkness." Could they confront their fears, or would they too become shadows in the forest? The trees seemed to surge forward to engulf them. What awaited them in the silence of that midnight could change everything, or could lead them to an end far darker than they ever imagined. Mike's heart raced along with Jess's, both of them caught in a dizzying spiral of fear and despair. The ethereal beings pressed in, their haunting whispers binding them like a net of shadows. "Face your darkness," a voice underwater urged again, sending shivers down Mike's spine. "Mike, do you think they want something from us?" Jess's voice shook, tangible with dread. "What if they're right? What if we hide in the dark?" "No," he replied firmly, forcing himself to hold her gaze. "We won't hide. We're going to find a way out." His voice felt like a feeble shield against the encroaching nightmares. But even as he spoke, his resolve wavered in the face of the spectral figures drawing nearer. They were reflections of their fears, kept in a limbo where hope had long since died. The dozens of faces stared through them, hollow eyes filled with longing and despair. Mike could feel the heavy weight of their intentions, the warmth of flesh long gone. Every sorrowful wail seemed to echo in his own chest, squeezing tighter with every breath. "We can't let them win," Jess cried, her eyes wild, searching for a way through the encircling mists. "Each of these souls there's got to be something we can do." She squeezed Mike's hand, grounding him in their shared fear. A flicker of something bright, that spark of courage ignited within him. There was a truth etched in their connection, a flickering flame in a world swallowed by shadows. "Tell me what you see," Mike demanded, his voice taking on an urgency he didn't feel. "What do you see in their faces?" Jess stared deeply, unflinching. The shadows whispered and curled around her, but she stood resolute. "It's pain and longing. They want us to listen to understand them." "Then let us listen." He took a step forward, fighting against the cold mist that clawed at his ankles. "We can't be afraid. If we face them, maybe we can help." The figures halted, their chorus quieting to a murmur, intrigued. The air shifted, a crack of ethereal light penetrating the darkness around them, illuminating the fractured faces of the lost souls. "Then you will learn," the soft voice emerged again, clearer this time. "To unlock the truth, you must confront your own." With a sudden pull, the shadows stretched out and enveloped Mike. The world twisted, colors swirling down like a drain. He felt Jess slip from his grasp, her screams slicing through the blurring chaos. "Jess!" he yelled, but his voice felt distant, as if she were falling into a chasm unreachable. An unearthly wind whipped around him, carrying whispers of his past moments of guilt, fear, the shadows of unmade choices. Faces materialized in his mind, fragments of hurt and regret, each one like nails driving into his consciousness. Memories he had buried alive twisted and writhed in agony, demanding release. "No, stop this," Mike shouted into the void. "I refuse to be caged by my past." It was the first time he felt the impulse to fight against the tide of despair. The darkness roared at his defiance, clenching tighter. "You cannot escape it, Mike." The voices echoed back to him, distorted and cruel. "You must face what you fear most." Suddenly, he was back in the clearing, the haunting glances of Jess's face filled with worry, her torment woven into the tapestry around them. "You felt that, didn't you?" she gasped, chest heaving. "They know us," Mike breathed, realization slapping him like cold water. "It's our pain they're feeding on." "But what do we?" The figures surged forward again, hungry for their vulnerability, an inescapable tide. Jess was at his side, her resolve reflecting fiercely in her eyes. "We need to stand together. Our fears don't define us. They can't take us." Before she could finish, the ground below them trembled violently, shifting into the darkness. The spectral memories began unraveling, threads of life intertwining with shadows. The line between reality and nightmare blurred to nothing. "Jess!" Mike reached for her, but the pull of shadows was relentless. They were slipping away again, but now, amid their shared fear and determination, a new question loomed. Were they strong enough to confront the abyss, or would they be consumed by it? As the darkness encapsulated them once more, a voice pierced through the haze, a promise stung with menacing fidelity. "If you surrender, the truth will reveal itself." What truth awaited them in the bowels of despair? They were running out of time, and their deepest fears lingered just beyond reach, ready to be confronted, ready to consume them whole. The sharp crack of thunder echoed across the horizon, rattling Mike's already trembling resolve. The world was shifting beneath their feet, the shadows clawing hungrily at their vulnerability. He felt Jess's hand slip from his, and in that fleeting moment, every instinct to fight surged within him. "Jess, hold on." He reached out desperately, but his voice was swallowed by the whirling chaos. The darkness roared, a beast of their own making, and panic exploded in Mike's chest. Then, as if the very fabric of reality had torn, he saw her standing at the edge of the abyss. Jess's silhouette shimmered in the flickering light, caught between realms, caught between hope and despair. The weight of their shared fears became tangible, a living creature stretching across the space between them. "Mike," she shouted, her voice doused in urgency. "Don't let them take you too. It's not just our pasts. It's everyone we care about." His heart thundered in his ears, the suffocating dread rising like bile in his throat. "I won. I'll fight," he growled back, forcing himself into the void that promised only darkness. The shadows writhed around him like a living nightmare. He could hear their whispers now, clearer than before, taunting him with every mistake he had ever made. They were relentless. Each syllable felt like a lash, a reminder of weakness and regret. "You failed them. You're trapped in the same cycle of fear." But Jess's face lit up his memory like a beacon, her spirit igniting a flicker of defiance within his desperate soul. "No, they're wrong," he yelled as he pressed forward into the darkness, pushing against the heavy, suffocating grip of regret. Then, the shadows froze. Their stubborn grasp faltered, surprised by the tumult of his courage. "You're strong," the unseen voice murmured, softening, weaving a thread of intrigue through the air. "All it takes is embracing your darkness. You cannot deny it exists." The fear rattled like ice in his veins. But he couldn't back down. "I won't run anymore," he declared. "Tell me what I need to do." "Understand." The voice hushed, now almost tender, "to grasp the truth that binds you both. You must remember who you lost. You must confront your greatest sorrow." A rush of memories overwhelmed him, invading with ferocity. Laughter echoing under bright corners of life. Then shadowy memories twisted into ashes, faces turned away, voices silenced. Their lives had been snuffed out by the very fears he now fought. No, he whispered, choking on that primal grief. Reclaim them, the voice cooed, seductive. Face what you lost. Remember them, and release them from your pain. Before he could respond, the darkness pulled back, revealing a path littered with flickering lights, floaty orbs that pulsed with warmth and familiarity. Each one contained a memory, a shard of their life painted in their deepest hues of longing. Jess, he breathed, the crushing weight of uncertainty still lingering. If we do this together, we can break free. But we have to embrace what we lost. Let us do it, she affirmed, stepping forward, fingers intertwining with his, their clasp a promise against their shared fears. But no sooner had they started, a new voice echoed through the enveloping shadows, a voice they recognized, yet never expected to hear again. Mike, just help me. The air froze, and Mike felt dread creep down his spine. Could it be? The truth loomed larger and murkier than ever, knotting in his stomach. All this time it was you, he gasped, the recognition flooding through him like ice water. The darkness threatened to swallow them whole again, the pressure of memories demanding to be confronted. There was no escaping this reality. They would have to face it, together, or be bound to this shadowy prison forever. But what awaited them in the depths of their darkest fears? And would the shocking truth burn them, or set them free? Mike's breath came in ragged gasps as the voice reverberated through the sinister stillness. It couldn't be. What if it was just another trick of the shadows? No, Jess whispered, her eyes wide with fear. The light from the flickering orbs illuminated her face, betraying her sheer terror. It can't be. We have to face it, Mike urged, shaking off the bone-deep chill that gripped him. What if it's really them? He felt the weight of every choice he and Jess had made pressing down on him like a suffocating fog. Whoever it is, they're in pain, Jess said, her voice barely louder than a whisper. And we can't leave them behind. Together, they stepped forward into the abyss, the glow of the orbs intensifying around them. Each one pulsed softly, echoing memories both beautiful and tragic. One orb flickered, drawing his gaze. It held the laughter of friends he'd lost. Another shimmered with Jess's childhood, the sunshine reflecting her innocent joy, a stark contrast to the darkness surrounding them. Mike, a hesitant, familiar voice echoed, pulling him deeper into the veils of memory. It wrapped around him, squeezing until he could hardly breathe. Don't you remember me? The shadows twisted and distorted until a figure emerged, pale and translucent, caught at the edge of the light. It was Anna, a friend they'd lost in a devastating accident 2 years prior. Her expression was a mix of sorrow and longing. I need you. Mike's heart raced, the shocking reality crashing down like a tidal wave. Anna? He croaked, disbelief mingling with profound grief. You're here? Help me, she pleaded, terror reflecting in her eyes. I'm trapped in this darkness. You can save me if you find the courage to confront the truth of what happened. But that truth was buried deep, and Mike's mind spun as dread crept over him like a creeping vine. No, I can't relive that. Not again. Sweat trickled down his back, mixing with the rush of fear. Jess stepped closer to Anna, eyes filled with compassion. What do we have to do? Remember everything, Anna urged, her voice cutting through the chaos. The regrets, the pain, it all holds the key. Without acknowledging what you've lost, I will be lost forever. The shadows swirled tighter, encasing them all. Mike's knees felt weak as the memories engulfed him. The accident replayed in garish detail, his guilt flooding back like poison. He had been there. He could have done something. He should have done something. Jess gripped his hand tighter, grounding him. We can face this together, she whispered fiercely. We owe it to them. But as the grim memories rose to the surface, everything began to tremble. The walls of darkness around them shifted, threatening to collapse. Let us do it, Mike shouted, their voices rising above the growl of despair. We'll face whatever we have to. The orbs pulsated wildly, brightening in response, igniting a rush of warmth that began to push the shadows back. Yet, in the periphery of the light, he saw something else, a figure darker than the night, lurking just out of sight. Its presence felt palpable, a cold wave of dread sweeping through the air. Something isn't right, Jess muttered, her eyes scanning the shadows. We're not alone. The ground quaked beneath their feet, vibrating with impending chaos. Anna, stay close to us, Mike shouted, but his plea was swallowed in the shaking. It was a trap, and the shadows had teeth. Embrace it, Mike. Embrace the pain. Anna screamed, her voice echoing eerily as she began to fade. The shadows lunged forward with a ferocity that clawed at his very soul. No, Mike cried out, lunging toward the fading light of Anna. I won't let you go again. But what truth awaited them in their memories? What darkness lurked at the center of their deepest sorrow? Was it too late to save Anna? Or would confronting their pasts unleash something more terrifying than they could imagine? The shadows lunged with a ferocity that struck like lightning. Mike took a step back, heart hammering against his ribcage. Jess, hold on to me, he shouted, desperation bubbling in his throat. But the darkness thickened, swallowing Anna's faint glow, and he felt her slipping away, a fragile thread fraying quicker than he could grasp. The ground shook beneath their feet, a violent tremor that felt alive. With each pulse, the orbs shuddered. Then, just like that, the comforting warmth of the glowing spheres dimmed. It felt as if the very hope they held was being snuffed out, leaving them with only chilling despair. Remember, Anna's voice echoed, a ghostly whisper. You must remember before it's too late. Mike's mind raced back to that fateful day. How could he forget? The laughter mixed with screams, the sudden silence that followed a punch to the gut, a void that consumed all joy. He gritted his teeth, fighting against the rising wave of guilt and anguish that threatened to drown him. Anna, we're here, Jess cried, her grip tightening around his hand. We won't give up. But the shadows writhed, hungry for their fear, closing in like a pack of wolves. In their ferocity, Mike started to see fleeting glimpses of the past, how they had been naive, careless, how they hadn't seen the signs until it was too late. Friends smiling, laughter echoing, and just on the edge tragedy. The dark figure lurking on the outskirts drew closer, its malevolence radiating, as if feasting on their sorrow. Mike's breath hitched. He could almost sense it, the truth that lay buried beneath layers of guilt. Was it the truth they had to confront, or something darker still? Feel it, Mike. Anna's voice rang clear and piercing. You have to face what you could have prevented. No. Mike shouted, grounding himself. I can't. Do you want to save me? Anna's voice cracked. Or will I fade forever? He looked at Jess, her features a mixture of courage and fear. We can do this, Mike. For them. For Anna. A surge of adrenaline coursed through him. Yes, I'll face it. As if answering his declaration, the darkness roared. Tendrils of shadow reached for them, fierce and hungry, creepers clawing at the very fabric of their beings. Mike felt the weight of every regret pressing against his chest. The laughter, the joy, the blind days of youth, the everything that had slipped through his fingers, leaving him hollow. And then he saw it, a flash of light. It sparked in the shadows as memories surged forward. Anna's face, alive and vibrant, her smile lit up like a beacon. It shattered the murky pain, but he could feel her struggle, her essence dimming against the oppressive darkness. Do it. Jess's voice, fierce as fire. Remember us. Remember how we loved each other. Nobody was to blame, he muttered, forcing the words through clenched teeth as the shadows clawed at his reality. We all made choices. We thought we were invincible, but suddenly, he caught another glimpse, the split-second decision that changed everything. It hit him like a freight train, a twisted realization about the accident. It wasn't just that one moment, was it? Mike breathed, piecing together the truth as it washed over him, the choices they made leading up to that day, the signs they ignored. Jess looked at him, her eyes wide with understanding, and a hint of hope danced between them. We have to acknowledge it, she pressed. Embrace it all. It's the only way. But just as resolve filled him, the dark figure lunged from the shadows. A chilling voice, rough and jagged, slashed through the frantic air. You dare confront your past? You think it will save her? Mike faltered, a shiver crawling down his spine. The darkness pulsed, ready to envelop them. Mike shield. Together. Jess screamed, her eyes fierce and unyielding. The last glimmer of hope ignited between them, a burning bright that fought against the suffocating shadows. I won't let you take her, Mike shouted, steeling himself against the looming dread. But just as they braced for impact, the ground shook violently, a deafening roar, a reminder of the accident. A portal of memories collided around them. Would they survive the truth? Or would it rip them apart? The answer loomed as their memories spiraled like a tempest, swirling chaos thrown into the air, leaving them on the verge of something transformative and terrifying. What awaited them at the eye of this storm? The ground convulsed beneath them, a savage reminder of the day everything unraveled. Mike's heart pounded in his chest, a drum echoing the impending chaos. The shadows recoiled momentarily at their united stand, but the pause felt fleeting, tethering Mike's resolve with the fading warmth of Anna's presence. "Remember us," Jess shouted, voice firm and unwavering. "Hold on to that love. It's stronger than this." She squeezed his hand so tightly it hurt, grounding him against the torrents threatening to pull him away. "Hold on to what?" Mike cried back, desperation rampant in his voice. "What good are memories if they just lead us to more pain? Believe in us." Jess's eyes blazed with determination, a spark igniting between them. "If we don't remember, if we don't face it, we'll lose everything her. Us, the light." The weight of shadows pressed down, suffocating his thoughts, but then came another flash. A vision, a memory clawing its way back. Laughter, sunlight dancing on leaves, Anna spinning carefree in the glen of Slumberjack Woods. The warmth of those days, the innocence draped over them like a protective cloak. But then came the chill, the veiled warning in Anna's eyes before everything shifted. "Mike, don't. Watch out." The echo of that day rang out mockingly, as if the specter of warning had become part of the shadows themselves, relentless and predatory. His breath hitched. He couldn't deny the truth bubbling beneath the surface. That reckless adventure, that moment they thought was just fun, had it sown the seeds of destruction? How many warnings had they ignored, believing life was something inherent and infinitely extending? "Face the truth, Mike," Jess urged, her voice fierce against the dark. "This isn't just about saving Anna. It's about us standing against what we've created." The shadows writhed and twisted, dark tendrils threatening to consume them whole. Mike felt their whispered secrets curling around his mind, trailing down his spine like ice daggers. Yet as Jess spoke, he sensed a flicker of that earlier warmth, a collective strength thrumming in their joined hands. "Point one step forward." "Anna," he shouted into the abyss of darkness. "You deserve more than this. We won't let you drown in our past mistakes." As if in response, a rumble of energy surged through the chaos, brighter than the surrounding darkness. Light pulsed, an almost tangible force, a glimmer of hope against the relentless despair. The dark figure recoiled, and for a moment, Mike felt its grip weakening, shattering beneath their resolve. But just then a piercing cry sliced through the air. A cry that echoed like shattered glass, as Anna's essence flickered, a final cry of warning. "Mike, Jess, you must." The storm picked up momentum. Memories crashed against them like waves. Joy, laughter, and then the harrowing silence that followed the accident. Each moment was a dagger twisted deeper, an excavation of guilt and fear, scraping the very core of their souls. Mike stumbled, losing his balance, blue-gray mist swirling around him. The shadows crept back, whispering, clawing at the strands of hope they clawed together. "We're losing her," Jess shouted, panic rising. "Mike, we have to dig deeper. We can't let the past consume us." But what if the past was the key? As they stood at the precipice of revelation, Mike fought against his fears, desperately piecing the fragments together. The scattered images, the moments they dismissed. In that chaos, a grotesque realization settled. They were shadowed not just by their choices, but by secrets veiled in their hearts. What if the truth wasn't just of their failures, but darker still, a truth that could rewrite everything? Was it another accident waiting to happen? The shadows surged forward, hungrier than ever. Mike braced for the inevitable onslaught, knowing the moment of reckoning was upon them. Would they dig deep enough to save Anna? Or were they merely digging their own graves? As the black void infused their world, the air tight and charged, one thought lingered, a question that clawed at the edges of a fraying resolve. What other horrors lay hidden in the echoes of Slumberjack Woods? The shadows surged, relentless and dark, wrapping tighter around Mike and Jess, as if they themselves were searching for a way to drag the truth into the depths. A chill accompanied the apparition of forgotten secrets, pricking at their skin like needles. The memories they buried so deep surged back, refusing to be ignored any longer. "Mike, we need to remember." Jess's voice cut through the chaos. "Every moment, even the painful ones, could be the key. The tumult of memories spun around them like a tornado. Laughter from a picnic, a splatter of paint on canvas. Mundane but cherished moments now twisted into eerie echoes that suggested more sinister undercurrents. Mike gasped, his heart pounding with fear, a frantic urgency clawing at his insides. What had they done? What had they not seen? As if summoned by his thoughts, a flicker of light danced in the depths ahead, a pulsating beacon in the suffocating darkness. Focus on the light, Jess shouted, pulling him closer. That's Anna. She's struggling fight for her. The mist grew thicker, and cold whispers slithered around them, taunting him. A few steps forward, and Mike realized. It was a balance, a perilous dance between what they remembered and what they wished to forget. An angel and devil gripping at their souls, both equally binding. He thought of Anna again, and suddenly he could see her vividly, vibrant and alive, as if she were standing in front of him. Bright smile, eyes twinkling with mischief. You've got to face the truth, Mike, she had said once during a particularly reckless adventure, or it'll eat you alive. Had she known? Had she seen the cracks in their laughter, the fissures threatening to fracture their lives into fragments? With a sudden surge, memories flooded in like an avalanche. The day they backpacked through Slumberjack Woods, the playful chase that ended with Anna disappearing momentarily, their worried voices echoing back to him. Anna, where are you? She had always found her way out of every trap they'd set, but not this time. Anna, please. We remember. He shouted into the shadows. Show us the way. We're here for you. The very air crackled and suddenly a figure emerged, a silhouette framed by dark, swirling mist, her outline moving with purpose. It flickered, shadowy yet unmistakable. It was Anna, trapped within twisted vines of darkness, desperately reaching for them, her eyes wide with fear. Get away from her, Jess screamed, her voice cracking under the strain. We'll fight for you, Anna. You're not alone. The shadows recoiled momentarily, as if Jess's fierce words were daggers piercing their core, but they only hesitated a heartbeat before advancing again, shrieking like banshees. Mike's chest ached, a lump forming at the back of his throat as he struggled against the tide of shadows. Could he truly face everything that had led them here? Could he bear the weight of secrets festering within them? No. He roared, his hands shaking as he reached out for Anna, the connection between them electrifying. But what would that connection bring forth? What horrors lay hidden in the memories they were about to unearth? With one single decision, Mike dove deeper into the darkness, intent on tearing apart the veil that separated them from the truth they had tried to bury, the truth that had trapped Anna and now threatened to consume them all. As he stepped forward, the shadows shrieked in anguish, and Mike felt the world around him shatter like thin glass. Together, Jess clutched his arm tighter. We can face whatever comes next. Whatever secrets Slumberjack Woods seeks to hide, but even as they pressed further, the question loomed large. Were they ready for the truth? And, more importantly, would it set them free or seal their fates forever? The shadows burst, swirling around them like angry bees, stinging every heartache and regret they had ever buried. Mike's breath caught as he felt the crushing weight of loss pile onto his bones. We're fighting for you, Anna. You don't have to be alone, he shouted, each word heavy with desperation. The darkness hissed back, a cacophony of tortured whispers that roared of fear and despair, threatening to drown out their resolve. But Jess tightened her grip. We won't let you go. Not again. Her voice rang like a bell, breaking through the haze of torment. Mike turned to her, his heart swelling with gratitude and fear. She was right, they had to bring Anna into the light, to shatter the darkness together. Show us the truth. All of it, Mike called out into the suffocating void. In that moment, they felt a surge, a ripple of energy coursing through them. The air thickened, pregnant with expectation. The harrowing shadows rumbled, and there, at the center of the chaos, the flickering figure of Anna grew clearer, her desperate face etched in anguish and longing. You have to remember what we lost, she urged, her voice a whisper against the shadows. Suddenly, the space around them unfolded, revealing a haunting replay of the wreckage, the day they stumbled into tragedy woven intricately into the fabric of their souls. The laughter morphed into screams, bright summer light giving way to frantic darkness as Anna wove through too many memories, joyful, chaotic, and ultimately shattered. I can't. Mike gasped as he relived the moment again, the joyful hiking trip that spiraled into the depths of sorrow. The clash of carelessness and fate. It was my fault. No, Jess cried, fiercely shaking her head. It wasn't just you. We all, each of us, had our part. Anna's voice interjected, filled with a rush of calm rising above the din. To save me, you need to see the choices. Our decisions, our love. Face everything together. The shadows screamed in protest, twisting menacingly as if they felt the walls around them beginning to crack and crumble. Mike took a deep breath, pushing against the current of despair. We're here for you, Anna. No secrets we will remember. They forced themselves to gaze into the heart-wrenching past, the laughter, the light, the warmth wrapped around their friendships. But the laughter came with the weight of guilt, too. Every choice they ignored, every warning they silenced. We thought we were invincible, Mike murmured, realization crashing over him like a tidal wave. But we weren't. In that moment of clarity, the orbs of light surged, illuminating the darkness. Their memories pulsed with life, each laughter echoing, each moment stretching into eternity as they confronted the weight of sorrow and began to shift that loss into something powerful. We share this burden, Jess said firmly, her eyes shimmering with determination. We can honor you, Anna. A flash of brightness pierced the shadows, and Anna's spirit flared brighter, her eyes shimmering with hope. Let go of your guilt. It's okay to feel pain, she cried, each word lifting the heaviness that bore down on them. Embrace my memory. Let it carry you. As their hearts synchronized, they felt a magnetic pull toward the fragmentation of Anna's essence, intertwined with memories that festered beneath the surface. They breathed together, fear transformed into purpose, guilt morphing into love. Finally, they reached out, connecting with one another, their hands igniting the darkness, illuminating everything around them. We're not alone, Mike shouted, a fierce declaration echoing in the sprawling woods that had once seen their worst fears. The shadows recoiled, shuddering violently, disintegrating into wisps of fog under the weight of their combined resolve. You are free, Anna. You were never just a shadow, Jess shouted, and as the words left her lips, the figure began to glow, fragments of her spirit swirling around them like a beautiful whirlwind, distracting the darkness that had gripped them for so long. With one last push, warmth surged through them. They were flooded with memories of laughter, of joyous features, and Anna's vibrant spirit joined the light, breaking the chains of sorrow that had shackled them. The weight lifted, leaving a profound sense of connection blazing in its place. I'm here. Anna's spirit danced in the glow. Thank you. Thank you for remembering. The last of the shadows crumbled away, dissipating into nothingness, freeing the lingering souls, and sending forth a cacophony of laughter, love, and light. Together, hand in hand, Mike and Jess felt lighter, unburdened. The woods transformed, vibrant with life. Slumberjack was no longer a prison of shadows, but a sanctuary of remembrance. As they emerged into the open air, the moon shining bright above, each of them took a deep breath, a sense of relief washing over them. I won't forget again, Mike said, a smile breaking through the relief and tears. We'll live for her. For us. Always, Jess echoed, squeezing his hand. They stood together, gazing into the horizon, lifted by what they had faced and what they had transformed. They had freed themselves and Anna, a cycle broken, a haunting released, and a memory forever cherished. And as the sun began to rise, illuminating Slumberjack Woods, Mike whispered, "Let this be the end of the darkness and the start of our truth." The chorus of whispers turned to silence, as the woods too found peace. Now was the time to celebrate life anew. And you, dear reader, you can't miss what we have next. You need to subscribe right this second, so you don't miss any of our upcoming exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm. Your likes are what keep us going. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this ending. Don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Let us spread the love.